Fired 18 guns in this 701. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go from 66 degrees to snow and all that stuff.
Oh, boy, I tell you what.
Good Lord. So, the southern border is always in the news, but we talk about the northern border. And for one thing, there's nothing stopping people from flying into Canada and then popping over illegally, too. But now we have to be aware of the invasive super pigs and get that border fixed up.
Yeah, well, we've actually heard of wild pigs in North Dakota here a while back. Up there by Watford City, there was one killed on a guy's place because it was kind of causing some destruction. But yeah, what they're talking about is these wild boars that were brought in from Eurasia, basically. They come in here, they crossbred them up there in Canada with their domestic population, which made them bigger and hardier, and now they can survive about anywhere, especially even in our cold temperatures. And yeah, they're pretty concerned about them coming down here and crossing the border. And I don't know, Todd, if you've ever been down south and seen the destruction these pigs, the wild pigs down there can do, but that is something we do not want in North Dakota, I can tell you that.
I've done my own destruction when I was in the south, so... It was not pretty. I'll just put it that way. It was not pretty.
I mean, I've been down there. We go down there about every 3 years, a group of us, and down to Florida and hunt them. And, I mean, they tear up the ground overnight. I mean, in a 12 to 20-hour period, there can be a beautiful field there. And if the pigs move in overnight, it literally looks like it's been plowed. That's how destructive a large group of pigs can be. And basically this Dr. Ryan Brook, he's out of the University of Saskatchewan. He's kind of warning everybody that, hey, don't do what you guys are thinking. North Dakota Game and Fish is out there saying, call us, don't do nothing. I disagree. I think they ought to change that and say, if you see one, shoot it. Get rid of it. Because like he was talking about, they only have a gestation period of 114 days, average litter of 4 to 12 piglets.
Ugh.
And if you kill, they can repopulate very, very, very quickly. He said even if 65% of the population's killed up each year up there now in Canada, where they have a huge problem, the population will still increase. That's how bad it is. You could kill 65+% really, and you won't get ahead of it. You might break even as far as sustaining what population they have now. Said we don't want these things. They can go about 120 to 250 pounds, but can get up as big as 400 now. And they can run 30 mile an hour, and I can vouch for that. Them babies can run.
Clay, did you say what makes them a super pig? Did you say why they are super pigs?
Yeah, well, basically because they end up crossbreeding them with our domestic ones. I've got another article here that I was kind of looking into when we were looking at the other one. And yeah, basically what they did is they did it because they wanted to have hardy, meaty pigs. I mean, that's what they were looking for in Canada. So they thought it'd be a great way to import them in and have great big meat farms is what they were kind of looking at. And by doing that,
Eurasian hogs, right? They bred Eurasian hogs and some other...
Yep, they literally bred them with the domestic ones they already had up there in Canada, which, by the way, a larger animal can survive better. They're more adapted to it, and that's what happened. They started crossbreeding them and getting these hybrids, and guess what? When the market fell out in Canada and the pig price collapsed, they just went ahead and released them, and now they got huge, huge problems up there in Canada, and that's what's happening. That's why they're coming down here. They're starting to destroy. They're spreading out is what's happening. They're destroying everything.
Yeah, in Montana, they put a ban on raising them and transporting them. I don't know how much that's going to stop it. If somebody's going to raise them, they're going to raise them. I guess some people probably think, I can control this. This won't be a problem. But, a couple of them get out, and the next thing you know, like you said, you were saying how they can breed and spread. I mean, it sounds like a prairie dog. It's worse than a prairie dog, really.
They are.
Spread, so.
And, at first, a lot of the states looked at it, as well as the hunters, like, hey, here's another thing that we can go hunting for and then hone our skills and have some fun. Well, it ain't so fun anymore.
It sounds fun for sure. I'd like to shoot them, but, I don't want them up here. I've seen the damage you talk about. It's crazy.
It turns out if you use the right weapon, the only license you need to kill them is a driver's license.
Yeah. Kind of with everything, isn't it?
Those might wreck your car worse than a deer, Todd. Those things are stout.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't use a Geo Metro if you're going to try that trick. The pig is just going to laugh, so you don't want to do that. Guns in the 701, 824 here at K-Fire. Representative from Maine wants to make, I love this one because this really makes you realize, oh, yeah. Representative from Maine wants to make property owners liable for violence occurring in gun-free zones. You want to have a gun-free zone? Fine, have your gun-free zone, but deal with the consequences.
Yeah. Republican Representative James White from Guilford. He's serving his first term in the Maine legislature. I guess the guy's a career gunsmith and obviously a big advocate for your Second Amendment civil rights. He unveiled a proposal, Todd, like you said, to protect the rights of Mainers to bear arms in self-defense by allowing property owners to be liable for violence that occurs in these so-called unicorn gun-free zones. I think Clay and I actually brought this up a while ago on here. We thought this was a good idea. You know, the potential liability in his mind would discourage property owners from forbidding people from carrying firearms or, for that matter, other self-defense articles like pepper spray onto their premises. Because it's actually, you know, in a lot of these states, it's illegal to have pepper spray. Even Representative White said he's actually heard from some young females who work like nurses or wait staff or whatever. They get put in a position of leaving their place of employment because that forbids them from bringing self-defense things in, like a gun, like I said, or even pepper spray, and then they got to leave back to their car with nothing on them either. And if you are a business and you leave people defenseless, or you refuse to have a gun in there of your own and be trained with it to defend your patrons, you should be held liable. I've thought that for quite a long time already. And this proposal, I guess, comes after Clay and I talked about this guy a little bit Wednesday, U.S. Senator Angus King from Maine, quote, an independent. He's not an independent. He's a leftist. And of course, he caucuses exclusively with Democrats, with all these independents do. We're not an independent leftist. Let's get real. Just tell people who you are. He announced, right, Clay, earlier this week, he was introducing this federal legislation to do a buyback, you know, federal buyback and restrict your magazine capacity. And of course, it's all weapons, 205 Act. Yeah, Safe Act, yeah. Gas-operated, semi-automatic, whatever it was. It's, you know, another
firearm exclusion.
Yeah, instead of saying just semi-automatics, now they're saying gas-operated, which it are. It's, you know, the gas emitted from the cartridge when you shoot it. But I think they know that leftists hate gasoline, so they're putting gas in there too. So they really get them hating that semi-automatic. But yeah, luckily they all got voted down. None of them passed the Senate, which is good. Republicans killed them all, which is a great idea. So too bad for Angus King, leftist Angus King. There you go.
Guns in the 701, get that more coming up, guys. Check your text, by the way, for the real picture of the Time magazine Woman of the Year. It is Taylor Swift, but that's they use the wrong picture. I sent you the picture they're supposed to have used. But if anybody else wants the picture, I'm not willing to post it, but if you're willing to deal with the consequences of me sending it, then text me and I'll send it to you as well. 45 Guns of the 701 here in K-Fire 550. So New York's Attorney General, I guess the next step would be go back to a musket.
They don't like those either. Actually, New York has a ban on anything over 50 caliber, New York City, so you can't have a...
Oh, you can't have a musket either. God, what? Can I have a rock?
It depends right on now. Not the one that looks like on your shirt. That's definitely an assault rock.
Got to have a low-capacity magazine.
Because, you know, 3 or 4 is okay, but you can't have 30 or 40 or 300 or 400.
For now. So, New York...
Guys are letting you have one.
Yeah, you can't even have one. That's one's one too many, according to New York Attorney General Letitia James. I don't know if she's related to Super Freak Rick James or the Super Pigs. in a coalition.
Definitely.
Are you kidding? You seriously went there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You said super pigs for your words, so I had to work in some Rick James super freak.
Last thing I was expecting on Guns of the 701. Super freak.
Yeah, or you could say this case is about super mags, right? So that's what she wants to probably call these super mags. Her, Letitia James, and a coalition of 19 other attorney generals, that does not include Drew Wrigley, thankfully, filed an amicus brief in the U.S. District Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit in support of a California law that bans any magazine over 10 rounds. The case is called Duncan versus Bonta, Bonta being Rob Bonehead Bonta, the Attorney General of California, which concerns the constitutionality of the law of California banning any magazine that holds over 10 rounds, which Letitia James says large capacity magazines make weapons even more deadly and can lead to horrific mass casualty events, which I would say, I think from latest article on most the states with mass casualty of mass shootings, California is number one. And they have this, so I don't know about that, Letitia James. Plus, Virginia Tech, 2007, 32 dead. That was 10-round magazines. Parkland, 17 dead. That was 10-round magazines. So looks like 10-rounders are pretty deadly, too.
Yeah.
And those two shootings, there's been shootings with drum magazines, Todd, that have far less death and casualty than that. So, she's just working it down. And California's actually got a thing, Todd, you can't even have on your AR-15, you need something called a bullet button. You just can't push your mag release button. You got it, and so how's that working out for them? It's not working out.
You think they follow that law and say just random choice of towns, meaning nothing by this Compton?
Yeah, I'm sure the gang members follow it to a T.
I mean, because it's the law.
Yeah, right. Criminals follow laws, right?
Yeah. Well, you're selling your meth. Yeah, okay.
Clay, she claims this falls within the Second Amendment rights. Clay, though, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I seen she did, but it's funny. She's already been overruled on a few cases. Bruin comes to mind. She kind of started that and started spearheading that when it was going through, which it was overturned in the Supreme Court. But you and I have already reviewed a lot of magazine bans, actually. In fact, Illinois right now, they're trying to fight it off because guess what? Because of Bruin and the historical use, the Supreme Court has already ruled on several of these magazine bans and assault weapon bans that they're going to overturn those when they get to their bench as well. The courts are using Bruin as the precedent-setting ruling out of the Supreme Court saying, nope, nada, sorry guys, Second Amendment is a constitutional right. As a state, you do not have a right to throw that out or regulate it to the idea that it's not a historical use. And so, I mean, they can do what they want. I imagine, though, it'll come out of the Ninth Circuit, as Rush used to call it, the Ninth Circus Court of Appeals, because it was already overturned. And it'll probably end up going through the entire system and possibly land on the Supreme Court's desk. And I imagine that they'll come down with a decision that they either send it back and say, listen, look at Bruin and then make a decision, or they'll just overrule it and be done with it right there.
Well, she claims, Clay, that California law is consistent with historical tradition of regulating and imposing restrictions on new and distinctively dangerous forms of weaponry. She didn't elaborate the story, but I'd like to hear where in the history of gun laws we've banned, like anytime a new firearm comes out, yep, we got to ban that. Where is that a tradition?
Well, it's not new technology per se. I mean, the 1911 has been around before 1911 as far as the Colt 1911 handgun went. We've had lever action since the late 1800s. I mean, it's got gunpowder or cartridge and goes bang. It's not new technology. And they might do different things to it. They might put a different wrapper around it, but it's not new technology. And so, yes, it's going to fall within the historical means under Bruin. But you know how leftists are. They really don't care what the law says or what the rulings are. They just keep doing more of it and hoping something, throw it on the wall and hopefully it sticks.
Guns of the 701 here on K-Fire. It's 8:50, and not everything in Minnesota is bad. I know I bash Minnesota. against my will,
Rightfully
home
so.
state. But 94-year-old Rosemary traded her walker for a rifle in Bemidji. And
Yeah, I love this
good
story,
job,
don't you?
yeah.
I think Jamie thought this would be a good one for a good upbeat story. By the way, if you guys want to see the
Absolutely.
picture, I did put that up on the live stream that's going on right now. So the picture Todd was talking about, go check it out. It's kind of funny. Anyway, 94-year-old Rosemary Polzinski, hopefully I pronounced that right. She went out with her grandson. Remember, she's 94 years old. She decided she's going to go out with her grandson. They geared up. They hit the deer stand, got out there before the sun came up, and participated in the Minnesota deer season opener. The deer came out of nowhere in an open spot on the field at about 100 yards. She didn't really do much hunting until later in her life, she said, but she dropped her spiked buck right away with one perfect shot. One of her comments was, wow, I got my deer. She said, I shot once and was ready to shoot again, but it stayed down and it was great. I mean, can you imagine seeing
Love it.
your 94-year-old grandmother or great-grandmother possibly, and she's just as excited as probably when you took your first child hunting? I mean, I think this is a great story. She said that her late husband, Cy, he's the one who taught her how to hunt. He's been gone for 19 years, passed away, but they were together at Way of Founded for 72 years or 71 years. They got married and 52 years together till he passed away. So he really kind of put that in her and carried it on, but she didn't really go along to go hunting at first. She went there just to keep him company, and that's even a better story yet. I mean, I don't know about you, Jamie, but a lot of wives don't go out to keep their husband's company while they're hunting.
No. I mean, I can barely get my wife to go shooting with
Some
me,
wives
but,
wouldn't want to go with their husbands, and some husbands are going, I don't want my wife there. You're not going to shoot it, are you?
I can tell you one guy, Eric Newman, who follows the show, and he loves listening in the morning on Fridays. He just sent a message here a while back. And I know his wife and his family participate. It's a family ordeal, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And she mentions that's why she loves it. She learned that it wasn't just about going out and getting meat. If she went out there, she could spend time with her family and friends. She found like a solace, a peace, sneaking into the woods while it's still dark and watching that sunrise come up. And I know exactly what she's talking about. There's nothing like watching the world come to life in the morning when you're sitting there just glassing on a big butte or whatever you're doing, wait to call coyotes, hunt deer. I mean, there is something to be said for that. And it's a very, very, I want to say, a nice, peaceful time right there in the morning.
As long as they're not coming out and complaining the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm cold. When are we going home?
One more thing she said, which I really like, Clay. She said, at 94, as long as I can get out there and shoot my gun, I'm thankful.
You got to love that.
Oh, no
Absolutely.
kidding.
I do love it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Guns in the 701, the new stuff on Wednesdays?
Wednesday, 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, and, of course, right here on KFYR 550, an iHeart radio station, and right there on the iHeart podcast. Loads up pretty much. I'll do it right when we get done. Check it out, everybody.
Best podcast on iHeart.
Absolutely.
Wednesday night's go check out the podcast from Wednesday night. Clay and I got our gift ideas, and of course we got some other great Second Amendment and then hunting and shooting stories on there too. But you got some good gift ideas for the Second Amendment lover. In fact, I got a good one for ladies on there too, actually.
Yeah.
And if you want to see the rejected Time magazine photo, I let them deal with that because I don't dare. It's great though. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Yep,
Thank you, Todd. See you guys.
Guns to the 701 855 RL.